Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classic. This episode number 2761 and Doubleshot number 2655. First up, we have an omnibus to talk about, and then basically an Outsiders trade. And both are kind of finales, in a way. First up is basically New Warriors Omnibus Volume 3, which contains 54 to 75 of New Warriors Volume 1, 1780 of New Wars of Nova Volume 2, Justice for Balance 4-issue miniseries, Spectacular Spider-Man 228, Web of Spider-Man 129, the final issue of that series, Web of Spectacular Spider 3-4, material from Markham Presents 155-158, 166-167, along with Venom Lucky of Spider and Venom the Hunted. Now, like I mentioned, basically there was some skipping. First of which, I'm not going to be discussing issue 61-67, the Spider-Man issue, Web of Spider-Man issue, and the Web of Scarlet Spider issues, purely because basically I discussed issues already in the Ben Reilly Complete Clone Saga Epic trades. Yes, that's why I discussed these ones. But let's talk about the main. Now, first let's talk about Justice for Balance. This is a 4-issue mini-series written by Fabian DeCisa. Yes. Whereas a solo book for Justice. Which, of course, kind of interesting the fact he did this for 3 characters from the book. He did Nova, Night Thrasher, and Justice. But in the case of Night Thrasher, you got a miniseries and an ongoing. Nova, now technically of these 3 characters, the only one he created, well, in a way, was actually Night Thrasher. He's only technically created. He only worked on the book very briefly. This was a quick 4-issue miniseries, explore some stuff related to like abuse, and the fact that I think it was someone taking place. I think it was supposed to be like Vance's sister. I think it was, where she's with her boyfriend and their father comes in, and basically it's like, of course, Robbie, of course, is told to leave. I think it's supposed to be, I don't know if it's supposed to be speedball or anything, and she's like, there's supposed to be some respect in this house. That's what he says. And then he proceeds to slap her like crazy. Now, if I were there, I would punch him in the face for basically trying to abuse his own daughter. That's what I would do. Mostly explores basically abuse in the family. It explores a bit of abuse. It's a bit of a mature type series, but it is actually really well told. Nothing really bad here with this one. Before we talk about Markham Presents, let's talk about New Warriors and Nova. Let's talk about Markham Presents, where the material collected here is there's 2 solo stories for new Warrior characters. From issues 155 to 158, it's a 4-part feature on a character in I think it's supposed to be Nemertita, I believe it is. Yeah. Of course, sharing the feature with, like, not Wolverine per se. Yeah, he's already out of the book at this period of time. Mostly just Vengeance. It's a Man Thing later on, which I'll get to that later on. Yeah, it's mostly it's sort of for her in dealing with some super good old superhero stuff. Her finding a little bit about her history per se. Now, is this character Nemertita? Or Namora? Or is this some other new character? Yeah, it's a source there for her. I do find it quite interesting the fact that they gave her a feature in the book, but really enjoyable. As for the next 2 features, mostly put in a way. Oh, by the way, the person who writes, it's called the Matrix Syndrome, and it's written and drawn, colored and lettered by Ed Lazaria. That's who basically does this one. But in the case of issues 16167, it is mostly a character called Turbo, which of course involves one of the Turbos. Like, it's a bit of a dispute type story, where Someone's like, "Oh, I'm the real Turbo." No, I'm Turbo. Yeah, it's a character. It's called Cutting Class by Evan Sanak, who actually is the main writer of the book. This is mostly put Mike Jeffries and Mickey Masalchi. Yeah, it's basically like the whole thing of disputing the whole thing of Turbo. That's most of what it is. Um, Mike Jeffries is I think he's the original. Uh, no, he was the third. He was technically the third Turbo. Mm-hmm. It's basically a bit of a dispute over basically who is the real Turbo. That's kind of basically the story in a nutshell. Now, as for the new Warriors issues, basically two members of a group known as Air Force get killed off in issue 54, Tanja Earl, and also this is the debut of a group known as Soldiers of Misfortune. Yes, a group of characters who appear for 6 of these issues. Mm-hmm. They hear from issues 54, 55, 56. Excuse me, they come back for 62, 63, which we discussed this already, and 74. And mostly put basically guest appearance by Power Pack people, and dealing with basically these characters for these first 2 issues here. 56 basically, Nemertia leaves the team, and a character named Sparrow joins the Soldiers of Misfortune in issue 56. In 57, Night Thrasher Rage leaves the team. Yes, all because they had to do a fight with Namor. And of course, deal with the character group known as Undertow, which this is kind of weird. Now, after issue 59, this is kind of weird, where the story continues over in Nova. That's right, it continues over in Nova, believe it or not. Yes, dealing with this group known as, dealing with Cold Blue. Yeah, and then pretty much basically we continue over in Nova for a couple issues. Yeah, for the last 2 issues of the book we're doing Nova. Now, yeah, basically it continues over in issue 18, which is the final issue of the book. Nova number 17 is the debut of Nova Omega. And of course Nova Nova comes in, is like, yeah, the whole thing with this issue is that Nova is basically dealing with fighting our aliens. And then we have this Nova Omega character show up, and basically he's here to be Nova's replacement. And it's a fighting him and chase up the space. Or somehow this bout interrupts a port meeting. And then pretty much because he dares show up at this meeting, which he knew nothing about this meeting. And of course met by the leader of Nova Corps, he was fighting Nova Omega, who provoked him here. Basically, he's told he's discharged from Nova Corps. Just for interrupting this important meeting. I am not kidding about that. That's basically what happens here. He is discharged from Nova Corps. And then move on to the final issue of the book, because Nova Omega, because we have to deal with this new character. So, the whole final issue just kind of look back at the whole run as a whole, and him being discharged. And he hates Nova Omega. The guy is a complete dick to him. Mm-hmm. In my honest opinion, the guy who provoked him into doing this, into following him and getting discharged because he's his replacement. Yeah, this is Garcelle. Yeah, it's kind of strange that they fit like 59, 17, 18 between issues 59 and 60. And they have to continue. This is kind of weird that that New Warriors do this, where the story ends, like, you would think, oh, the story ends with this issue. Nope, we have to continue this over in New Warriors after basically holding it for 2 issues. Yeah. Also, Night Thrasher's new group, the Parallax, basically show up here. Oh, and the character Nova Omega, this is not technically his debut. He made his debut in Avengers 301. He's insane. And for some reason, he was able to provoke him. This actually was his return. Like, he last appeared back in issue number 1. And then, of course, became a recurring character in this book afterwards. Yeah. Despite the discharge, still keeps his powers. Yes. Yeah, and after dealing with that, and then we jump straight to issue number 68. Because, of course, 6167 deals with a bunch of Spider-Man stuff. Then we deal with a storyline known as Future Shock. Yes. Future Shock. A story that takes up the next 4 issues of the series. Which deals with a threat from the future. Yeah, basically, this is a 4-part team-up story with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep. And, of course, they also have Sphinx here. There's also his debut new character named Avent, who's here for this storyline. Excuse me, but this storyline is a lot of fun. But then comes the last 3 issues of this book. Yeah, where they take on someone called Mother of Pearl, who appears here for this 1 issue, and they team with the Avengers in this issue. The new character Helix leaves. Helix kind of joined during the whole crossover with Spider-Man. Yeah, that's when he first joined the group, and by 73 he's gone. He's never seen again in comics. Yeah. The character Mike Jeffries, who was basically a Turbo, he gets killed off in this issue. He is, in fact, yeah, he gets killed off, sadly, in this issue. Then by 74, basically, Nova basically is depowered and basically still with the team. We did with the return of Undertow in these final issues. And then by 75, the final issue of the book, Nova joins the roster. Supposedly, Nova may get killed off in this final issue. And number T and Night Thrasher basically join the roster. And like, oh, we're going to basically push the fight forward. And nope. Book got canceled. And they come back 3 years later. Yep, takes 3 years for them to return in Nova Volume 3. Which I'll discuss that another time. But in the case of this particular book, it's basically, let's go have final thoughts on Nova Volume 2 and New Warriors Volume 1. I love New Warriors Volume 1. It's an absolutely fantastic book. Not necessarily a bad set of issues per se, with the exception of the Clone Saga stuff. Nova Volume 2 is fantastic. It's a shame this book got canceled with only 18 issues. The book was really good. But my guess is the reason why I canceled? Low sales. Yeah, and got canceled for a period of time. Like, you think 1986, what happened in 1986 when it comes to Marvel Comics? Onslaught happened. That's what happened. It's kind of weird, though, the fact that New Warrior returned 3 years later when Nova Volume 3 starts up by a completely different writer, which I'll discuss another time. But both books are really good. I thoroughly enjoy them. It's a shame for him this season to do all the issues. No, he left. He left at that point. He left at a certain point in time. But really fun book. Next up we have is Outsiders, 5 of a Kind. Now, there are 5 one-shots in this one. First up is Nightwing and Boomerang. This book is done by Tony Bedard. Yes. He would do just this opening issue. Actually, no, this is done by Zito de Phillips. Now, mostly put, this is basically like, oh, this is Wrath issue 49. Batman has to have the current team try for their own spots on the team. So Nightwing and Captain Boomerang had to team up to basically deal with going to the space station and straighten it out. And on the space station, by the way, Captain Boomerang points out though to Batman, he's already on this roster. Why the heck would we gotta earn the spot on the team? And Batman points out to him, I actually originally founded this team. Which that's indeed true, he did. Back in the 80s. I'm glad the writer basically remembered that. So they go on this mission. Now he can start leaving anyways, because he basically left. And let's see, this was basically around like 09-ish per se. You might think, basically I think the reason why they wrote that team is because he was going over he was basically, of course, he was still having his own solo book at the time. My guess is because he's moving to a different group book, that being Titans Volume 2, which was only there for like the first like year of the book. And they left. So Joe Buddick. So by the end of the book, basically, Nightwing already left him anyways, and Captain Boomerang had to resign. You're thinking, okay, what's next? Katana and Shazam. Well, mostly put the other, and of course, Katana herself is already on the team anyway, so. And you're gonna love this one. This issue is written by Outsiders co-creator Mike W. Barr, with Kevin Sharpie on the artwork, which I love this artwork here. Yeah, it's a team issue between them. It's just basically a tryout for Katana. Because Captain Marvel was not going to join the team. He's just going to call it Marvel. And it's a great story. And I think he does an excellent job with the book. Next up is a bit of a controversial one. Yes, where in story, this got basically Grace mad. Oh boy. Where this is basically Thunder and Martian Manhunter with his new world costume. Yep. Where written by Tony Bedard, artwork by Coy Tobit. It's basically them on a little bug mission. And like restoring someone like criminal's mind at the end of the book. And of course she joked like, oh yeah, maybe come out there. No, he's on the team and Thunder, you're out. Which basically made her angry. So she contacted her girlfriend, Grace, basically, to complain about it. Next one, basically, is Metamorpho and Aquaman. Yes, Metamorpho and Aquaman. Written by G. Will Wilson. You're thinking, that name sounds familiar. Yes, because she's the creator of Camilla Comics Marvel, and currently she's a writer of the Poison Ivy comic book by DC Comics. So, no, the Camilla Comics Marvel was not her comic debut. This comic was. It had a really weird artwork here by Josh Milton. I think it's Josh Milton. Mostly put it's him in it's Metamorpho teaming up with the new Aquaman. Oh, little fun fact about this particular one shot. This came out just after the cancellation of Aquaman Sword of Light. This is basically his very next appearance. After this, he didn't do much anything afterwards. He did not join the Outsiders. Basically, like. It's a good story. By the end of basically, Metamorpho was already on the team anyways. But basically, in the case of, the backup here is done by Tony Bedard. Yeah, you think you joined the team? No, just that you're a good kid, but you're no Aquaman. And this is Arthur Joseph Curry, mind you. And he says, that was not my name anyway. I never wanted a name anyways. And of course, he drives off, and he's never seen again. For most parts. Next up, basically, we have the final one-shot here. Wonder Woman and Grace. Done by Mark Andrego. Yes, Mark Andrego. This is also an Amazon-centric issue with Cliff Richards in the artwork, which I love the artwork here. It's fantastic. Yep. So, by the end of this really cool mission with the Amazons, now, Grace knew Wonder Woman was not going to join the team, which she was fine with. Of course, you have a brief appearance by Lady Blackhawk. And she does ask basically where's Thunder. Washington, she's very angry. So basically, then we cut over to Outsiders 50. Which final issue of Volume 3 for The Outsiders, where we basically, after all that, we finally have the new team make their public debut. Which the team, at this point, is comprised of Grace, Marshmander, Metamorpho, Katana, Batman, and I think that's it. Just these 5 people. Grace is not happy with the fact Katana's on the team, so she texts later on and says, screw it, Batman says, you're on the team. So, the biggest thing with this issue, of course, Nightwing basically, of course, you have a brief, like, a little picture of kind of the Joe Winnick Outsiders, which is quite nice. So, yeah, and we also have a debut in this book of a new Suicide Squad. That this lineup only exists in this one book. Yeah, and the lineup consists of, get this, excuse me, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, yeah, the son is taking over his spot position. The most surprising addition to this roster is, get this, you're gonna love this, Bane joins the Suicide Squad for this one issue. And then he's never seen the team ever again, because I think after this he was basically moved to Secret Six. It's a very interesting lineup for the Outsider for Suicide Squad. It's surprising Bane never became full-time member of the team. And Batman asks, like, why the heck are you even here, Bane? I mean, he gets Deadshot and Boomerang, but why? And of course, we also have Major Disaster out of the roster too. Yeah, by the way, tagline of this issue is "You killed the Outsiders," and this comes just after the conclusion of the 5-of-a-kind one-shots. Oh, here he remembers: Bane, Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, the second one, Deadshot, the General, Multiplex, Plastique, and Rick Flag. When Thunder shows up, she's mistaken for Plastique in the book. Yep. But yeah, Thunder's on the team. And guess who also joins the roster with this very issue? Catwoman. Yep. And then, sadly put, 3 issues in Batman Outsiders, Marshmander, Catwoman quit the team. Catwoman goes back to, I think at this point in time, she would still have her solo book. Marshmander, I'm not sure what the heck he was up to. And of course, basically now after they left, Chuck Dixon left the book. Because he took over the book right after this. And he stayed in the book for 10 issues. And these issues were fantastic. Even Dixon, I talked to Chuck Dixon about these issues. Even he loved working on this book. It was really good. Just sadly, but basically, now next to talk about the Outsiders, talk about the Final Four Batman Outsiders Volume 4, but in the case of this thing here, it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Though I do agree with Grace's opinion that Thunder should be on the team, because the father was part of the team before, so she's here. Yep. But now since I've already got my final thoughts on New Warriors Volume 1, Nova Volume 2, now let's basically, because right now I just discussed the final issue of Outsiders Volume 3, let's discuss the final issue of Outsiders Volume 3. Very interesting volume for Outsiders, where that Joe Winnick wrote all but, I think, like about 1, 2, 3, I think about 5 issues. Yeah, because last time I talked about Outsiders, there was some issue he didn't write. It was written by a film writer. Excuse me. Linkara himself basically said, "Oh yeah, or all but 1." Actuality was all but 5. But really interesting book. I love the checked out crossover. I thought that was really awesome between Outsiders and Checkmates. Checkmates surprisingly managed to last right after that crossover came out. That managed to last for another about 6 issues before the book got canceled. Actually, no, it managed to last for another year, and then the book ended. About 2 years later, the book ended. This book immediately relaunched to Batman Outsiders, which lasts 14 issues and retitled to just the Outsiders again. But I can't wait to discuss Outsiders Volume 4. But with this also, this is pretty much it for this particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications, and do hit the dislike button. Next up is My Hero Academia. Okay, next video. Bye.